Karuga! Kapla!
I'm going to take this opportunity, however, to suggest that we all hail Karuga. Oh, that's all I'm saying.
Forgive me, Doctor. I'm receiving a number of distress calls. I don't doubt it.
Y'all remember the 50 waitresses. Have a mighty fine night.
You come in peace, surrender or be destroyed. Here to make war, we surrender. Falsehood, important news are new people.
When the appointed hour arrives, the Marauders will deactivate their cloaking devices and begin transporting Klingon shock troops directly to the landing zone.
Landing zone? Where? Tell me.
Why not? Your feeble weapons will be useless against us. We will kill all your males and take your females to mate with.
All right. Now the Federation's taking over, whether you like it or not. You people, you've been running this planet like a piecework factory. From now on, it's gonna be under one roof. You're gonna run it like a business. That means you're gonna make a profit.
Look at these 3 words written larger than the rest, with a special pride never written before, or since. Tall words, proudly saying, "We the people."
Hi, I'm Nicole DeBoer. I played Lieutenant Ezri Dax on DS9, and I welcome you to Bird O' Prey 5 channel. Hail Karoga.
Hello, world! Shit. Hello, world! It's Bird O' Prey 5. Kapla. And I'm already hearing... There it is. I had a tab open that was playing another copy of the YouTube, so I was like, where am I hearing this phantom music from? Still saying "we the people" even after the stream intro had ended. I found it. Luckily, there it was in a different browser. Anyway, hello world. It's Bird O' Prey 5. Kapla. Welcome to Bed Life for Monday, January 23rd, 2023, aka National Pie Day. Now, not March 14th, which is, of course, also National Pie Day, that being PI, the number 3.14. 15926, blah, 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 blah. Today is National Pie Day, P-I-E, as in apple, cherry, blueberry, rhubarb, fudge, chicken pot, and all the other pies you may be familiar with. The much more sweet Pie Day, as to the more mathematical, cold and mathy one that comes in March. The January Pie Day is warm and toasty, like a freshly baked pie. Anyway, welcome. Let's go to the top, to the live chat. Richie Poole was first. That's Kapla, Richie Poole. Actually, excuse me, not Ryan Johnson was first at 1:28 p.m. Says hello and Kapla. Hail Karoga. Hail Karoga. Thank you, not Ryan Johnson. Richie Poole was second. Kapla, Richie Poole. Professor Brainy Specs says, Trivia Klingon Challenge. This should be an epic fail. No, I have high hopes. I am fairly sure, because this trivia challenge is not rigged. Not rigged. Unlike certain other YouTube internet-based trivia games that shall not be named at the moment. Not Ryan Johnson says, Professor Brainy Specs, how will it be an epic fail? Berto Prey 5 always cheats. No, false. False. Mike Richards says, greetings from Columbus, Ohio. Greetings, Mike Richards. Moxley fan says, hello, you all. Kapla, Moxley. And Moxley says, Kapla, Bird, hope you and the family are doing well today. In all seriousness, I guess we are, Moxley. The problems of today are trivial compared to most days, and knowing what you're going through and what so many others are going through. That said, I'm going to take a moment to bitch about it anyway. So most of you, some of you may have known already that I got a call yesterday, an email, in the middle of everything, that Sassy's vet, who has been coming to the house ever since we got Sassy, your vet, been coming to the house now for 6 years since we've got Sassy. Sassy's 6.5 years old. We got Sassy when she was 6 months old. So basically November, 6 years ago. All of a sudden, and having been in this house a week ago and saying nothing to us at the time, we got an email stating that effective immediately, the practice was closed. That from now on, the only way to reach them would be by email, and the only thing they would do would be to send over her medical records and to not ask any further questions. That it was a husband-wife team. The wife was the vet. The husband, I don't know what exactly his title was, but he would just come along. And the husband was retiring, and the wife was going to work for the state as a veterinarian for the state in some other state. They didn't say where. I wish, but they did send some links for a different vet that could come to the house. So I said, okay, well, all in all, not really a big deal. Actually, two vets that could come to the house. So okay, all in all, not the worst problem. They did. So anyway, fast forward to, because I got that over the weekend. So it's Monday morning. I call the first place. They say I'm not in the right zip code. I look at their map. The zip code that they take ends about 5 blocks away from my house. Not close enough, like not across the street, but close enough that it's literally a 2 extra minute drive to get from wherever they ended to get here. But I understand they've got to put, they've got to cut it off somewhere. But I call them hoping to get, somebody who understands logic or would feel bad for me. Either way, I didn't care. I ended up with somebody who couldn't understand either, and just like, yes, we don't go there, but just go on the website and put in your email address, and we'll let you know when we get to your zip code, because we're always expanding. Like, yeah, but it's not viable that I'm not. Basically, I was trying to explain to them that if they can't say they'll take me, I'll have to get another vet because I can't wait around for them to maybe expand to my area. You know, I knew Sassy has shots she needs to get done come August. Jedi Bill, thank you so much with a $3 super chat. Says Kapla, Berto Prey 5, and Hail Karoga. Hail Jedi Bill. Kapla, and thank you. So anyway, Sassy, I said, I got to find somebody else. So that's one vet. The other vet that very possibly does come to my zip code, unfortunately, the old vet charged a $90 fee for coming to the home, plus whatever the cost of whatever tests or whatever they had to do. This new replacement vet charges $250 for coming to the house, plus the cost of the tests or whatever they need to do. So obviously over 2.5 times the fee just for coming to the door, not counting whatever they actually have to do. That didn't seem like a replacement. That seemed like a scam. But so I put my name in the waiting list for the other vet. Hopefully their fee, I for all I know, their fee is exactly the same at $250, but maybe it's more like $100 or $150. I don't know. Hopefully it's less, and hopefully I get a call back soon. And then on top of that, I had just ordered Sassy's. Sassy had one pill left for her heartworm medication. So just before this all happened, I ordered the refill from Pet Meds, 1-800-PET-MEDS. And I was on the website, and I didn't quite understand why the item I was ordering, I knew last one I ordered was a 12-month supply, but they had it listed as a 6-month supply. And Sassy just donated $1.49 and says, I gotta wait for it to show up on my screen here, because the other thing that's broken is the StreamYards. Yeah, if you keep saying the word, you're going to need an undertaker. The vet. Sassy does not like me saying the vet. Yeah, one of the other things broken is Streamlabs, the event viewer, which shows the history of super chats and donations. It's just broken today. It's completely blank. It's been like this, broken or blank, once in a while. It's not unheard of, but it is annoying in that I have no backup in the meantime. So if I don't catch the super chat, I can have to go back to the chat. And if I don't catch a donation, it's just gone until the Streamlabs gets fixed, possibly tomorrow. So I have to, if you do a donation, I appreciate it, but there is always a chance I might miss it. That's today. It's a very good chance it might get missed. I apologize. Super chats, less likely to get missed because I can go back to YouTube and find it. So yeah, so okay. So on top of that, I ordered the medication, and I was like, okay, and this was $100 of medication. I was a little confused though, as to, I knew I had ordered previously a 12-month supply, but for whatever reason, it was showing a 6-month supply. as the price, well, maybe the price had gone up like so much else had gone up in the past year. And I should have looked into it a little bit more, but I was so busy. I just ordered it, whatever. And it came today, and Mama Frey looked at it and realized I'd ordered the wrong medication. Not completely wrong, but not the one I needed. There's 2 medications we order for Sassy, Heart Guard and Frontline. Frontline is what I ordered, and that's to kill fleas and ticks. What I wanted to order was Heart Guard, which is a chewable pill to kill heartworm and other worms in the blood. So that was the 12-month supply that I had ordered also from 1-800-PET-MEDS. For whatever reason, the 1-800-PET-MEDS website does not have that listed in my order history. I absolutely ordered from them because I can see it. It's on their pharmacy. It's on their label. My name, Sassy's name, that it was ordered from them, from PET-MEDS. For whatever reason, PET-MEDS doesn't have me ordering it through the history. So what I did was go to history, and I just reordered the last thing I had ordered. And now we have extra of the flea killer and no extra of the heartworm meds. And worse, now that the veterinarian has supposedly already closed, they may or may not actually give permission to PET-MEDS to ship me the medication I need. So if they don't give the okay to ship, then I'm going to find a new vet within a month so Sassy can get her heartworm medication. Had I not missed it and realized by mistake when I ordered 3 days ago, I would have had time for the real vet to okay it, and it would have gotten here yesterday instead of the wrong stuff. And I don't care that I spent money on the wrong pills, or because I mean we will use them eventually, but yeah, kind of screwed if they don't accept it, then I have to find another vet to okay the frontline meds. It's such bullshit too, because why do you need a goddamn veterinarian to sign off on pills for a dog or a cat or a fucking, I mean, if you're on a farm, I remember as a kid going with Dad O'Prey, there was a farm supply store out in Amsterdam, New York, which is upstate, right near the Adirondack Mountains, where there are legit farmers like Deej with their tractors and their herds of cattle, and they sold. We were up at the cash register. Dad O'Prey was buying a piece for his 1958 tractor or whatever they had up at the Adirondacks property, and right on the counter they were selling penicillin for horses, horse penicillin, right out of the bottles, big bottles of penicillin. And apparently you don't need a prescription to get penicillin for a horse, but you do need penicillin prescription to get, penicillin, or for that matter, Heart Guard worm dewormer pills for your dog. It's ridiculous. I don't think you should even need a prescription to get a medication for yourself. Sure, if you want to go to a doctor, great. Let the doctor give which medication you need. Send it to a pharmacy, fine. But if I want to walk into a pharmacy and say I need to buy, 10 doses of penicillin, I should be able to do that. It's my God-given right to be able to do that. I shouldn't have to, yes, to walk into a pharmacy. If I could, I would. But, yeah. Anyway, can't do that. So I hope this goes through, because they warn you three times. They're like, if your vet doesn't sign off on it, it doesn't matter that you paid us. We're not going to be able to send it to you. No, I'm not kidding you. Then they will refund it. But yeah, but it's annoying because I had to place the order, and now I don't know if it'll be a day, a week, 2 weeks before we find out if we're getting it. And it's just so annoying. It's just so annoying. It doesn't have to be. None of it has to be like this. John DeMarco says, greetings, everyone. Moxley fan, candy bar, cheeseburger, French fries, and drink. That is pretty much exactly what Nephew O'Prey ate yesterday and the day before. And then Bert O'Prey 5X gave a $1 super chat as I was testing my super chats and confirming that Streamlabs is indeed broken. But nevertheless, the kissing Dax, or whatever the animation might be, is working. Moxley fans says, Bird must be testing the super chat notification animations. And yes, I was. 47 Yorktown says, hello, young sir. Kapla, 47 Yorktown. Yvette says, good evening, Bird and everyone. Good evening to the lovely Yvette. 47 Yorktown says, bonjour, Yvette. Oh, how fancy. Dan Ben says, hi, Kapla, Dan Ben. Thomas Potts says, I should trip the waitress. What? Nobody said anything about tripping the waitress. Tip the waitress. Tip. Like from side to side. Jedi Bill says, Kapla, Bird O'Brien, Kapla, Jedi Bill. Yvette says, hey to Moxley. Elihu, who, by the way, if he's not here, is stuck in Denver because of Frontier delaying his plane to D.C. So wish him well. We hope Elihu has a safe flight. Professor Brainy Specs is not Ryan Johnson. It doesn't matter if Bird cheats. He still goes into crash and burn mode. Hey, Professor, by the way, speaking of crashing, and I told this story, a shorter version of this story on DJ's stream this morning, but I had a very recent dream, and for those of you who don't remember, I've told the story before. The basics is every time I've dreamed of being on a plane for at least the last decade, okay, at least the last decade, every few weeks at least, every few weeks at least, I'm on a plane, and I realize when I realize I'm on the plane, I realize we're going to crash. I can usually see out the front of the plane, like, they have the cockpit door open. They don't do that anymore since 9/11, but in the olden days, they used to do that quite a bit. I could see right out the cockpit what was coming up in front of us, and I would, say, "Oh shit, why are we headed under the bridge?" Like something like that. Or I'd look out the side window of the plane, and I would notice that there are buildings, or I have to look up to see the top of the building, and I would something would tell me like, we're not supposed to be this low. And then the trees are getting bigger and bigger, and I go, oh, shit, we're crashing, and we crash, and I wake up usually, and to the point that anytime I've been on a plane in my dreams, I would realize, hey, you're dreaming because this plane is going to crash. I just assume now that when I get on a plane, it's going to crash. And so, so the other night I had this dream. I was on the plane and we didn't crash. We landed in New Jersey. Now, granted, it was New Jersey, but still better than crashing. And I was so happy. I was getting stuff, like I was going through the behind the seat, the pocket behind the seat, and Tuesday donated $1.49 and said, where the hell did Monday come from? Yes, so earlier also on Deeja's stream, I did get the day confused. I thought it was Tuesday. She's like, what do you got going on today? I was like, oh, nothing, it's Tuesday. I got physical therapy this afternoon and no streams planned at all. And then a little bit later, I read, oh shit, it's not Tuesday, it's Monday. I've got bed life today and no physical therapy. So thank you. But yeah, so what was I saying? So we landed. In the seat pocket, they had crayons, they had clay, and they had markers, and the clay and the markers and the crayons all had the logo of the airline. So I took those all for Nephew O'Prey because I was sure that they were meant to be giveaways. They were meant to be traded out, given away, because they were all logoed up. So I took that, and I was all happy that I was going to get a chance to give them to Charlie. And also in the seat pocket was an original Game Boy, an old not 8-bit, an old however many bit, black and gray, grayscale Game Boy. And I knew enough to leave that. Like, they did not want you to remove that from the airplane. And like, besides being a Game Boy, it was also inside like its own case that made it twice the size. So you couldn't like sneak out of the plane with this Game Boy like under your shirt or something. It was just too big to walk out inconspicuously. So I knew not to take that. But I was totally justified in taking the crayons and markers. And I was like, yeah, he's going to love this. He's going to love it. And I was just so happy to land. Like, I couldn't explain why I was so happy. It wasn't until after I woke up that I was like, oh my God, the curse has been lifted. And even if it was just this one time that the plane landed, at least I know that it's not that the plane always crashes. If once in a while the plane doesn't crash, once in a while is infinitely better than never. Okay? Infinitely better than never. If I know now that, hey, 1 in 100 times that plane isn't going to crash, at least I have hope. At least I have something to look forward to. And very possibly, maybe the plane won't crash anymore. Maybe that part is over with. Maybe I've turned a corner. But either way, I'm in a much better place than I was when I didn't think the plane would ever land again. So, very happy. Very happy. Moxley fans as we, the people, indeed. Dan Ben says, I did recently send him a Klingon trivia quiz. Yes, Dan Ben, it is you. You sent it, and we'll see how it goes. Thank you, Dan Ben. Professor Brainy Specs says, Thomas, well, it's Karoga after all. Not Ryan Johnson says, Professor, isn't that what we live for? Bird of prey, crashing and burning. I hope not. Although Professor says he supposes so. LDG of Free the Net says, howdy all. Kapla LDG. Dan Ben says, it's Monday indeed. Professor Brainy Specs is too bad I don't have any pie. You could make a pie. You could rent the movie American Pie. That's something. You could listen to the song American Pie. That's something too. And Dan Ben likes pie. Professor says fudge pie. I mean, they must have a fudge pie. Dan Ben says, yeah, it can be difficult to get pie in some places. Professor, never heard of that one. You've never heard of fudge pie? Mom, I'm afraid. They must make a fudge pie, right? I guess nobody has heard of fudge pie. I just assume that anything you could do on cake, you could do in pie. The Random Menace says the best pie is 3.14. Well, that's a different pie. John DeMarco says, sounds like a good day for Rokig blood pie. Dean Winchester's favorite food, pie. LDG says, Dean loves pie. Chocolate fudge pie, says Dan Ben. Chocolate pie, cherry pie, orphan pie, says LDG.
You could make chocolate pudding, a chocolate fudge pudding.
A chocolate fudge pudding pie. That's what I was talking about. Mama Prey suggested it. Chocolate fudge pudding. Addie in stereo with a $5 super chat. My good friend Addie says, after 20 years in a wheelchair,
I've been monitoring your communications with Starfleet Command, Captain.
After 20 years in a wheelchair, my granddad stood up, went to the computer, and turned up the volume to hear Bird. Thank you for saving Pop Pop, Joe. You're most welcome, Addie, and I hope Pop Pop is doing well.
I wish that was true.
Of course it's true, Mama Frey. Why would it not be true? Dan Ben says chicken pie, beef, or steak pie. Arabic Saunders says Kapla, bird of prey, Kapla. Arabic Sounder, live long and prosper. Miss Lundell's Groovy Movie says Kapla, Kapla, Mr. Lundell. Professor Brainy Speck says, John DeMarco, I think we should be offended. LDG says, welcome on this Tuesday. It's not Tuesday. You're trying to confuse me.
I'm gonna say, please, get one who used to know.
Mama Praise confused it up, she says. 47 Yorktown says pi greater than pi. The number, the food is greater than the number. Well, technically speaking, you're showing one pie to be greater than 3 pies and an extra 0.1415926 of a pie. Thomas Potts is bird of prey. How did you do when you first took the test? I promise you, Thomas, I did not take the test other than the first question and the second question that somebody told me. This will be the very first time taking the test. I promise you. Dan Benz has recently bought a variety pack of 6 fruit pies, 2 apple, 2 black currant, and 2 cherry, but didn't tell you which pie was what flavor when you opened it. It was annoying. That is annoying. Jelly Bill says, hey to Thomas. And Dan Ben says, my mail something goes to the wrong house because the name of the road is similar as another road. My mail sometimes goes to the wrong house because the name is similar. Sorry to hear that, Dan Ben. Dan Ben says, use blank so you don't have to give my actual road. So I live on blank road, and if you go down the road, you come across another road called Blank Crescent, which has nearly the same name. When I first got to San Diego and I was driving north of downtown, there's an area, I believe it's in La Jolla, where you had La Jolla Village Drive, Villa La Jolla Drive, and La Jolla Village something else, like road. And I was totally confused because like the hotel was at the intersection of Villa La Jolla Drive and La Jolla Village Drive. And I'm like, what the fuck? And it was not easy to find the hotel because it's a very mountainous area and the hotel is literally like in a valley, like in a small canyon in the area. You can't see the hotel. It's below eye level pretty much from any street. And then across the street is this big, beautiful, I didn't know what it was. I was like, what the fuck is this? Disneyland? No, it turned out to be a Mormon temple. Not a church, a Mormon temple. The difference being that apparently a temple is a more religious place to Mormons. And while you can go in a church, unless you're actually a Mormon, and from what I hear, like you have to be like a next level Mormon, like the intro to Mormons can't get in that thing. You have to have already taken some special rites. Then you're allowed in the temple. It's only like once a year is the temple open for the people to come in. Birdo Pray 5's Conscience donated $1.49. I only did the last 2 questions, but I didn't do well on the quiz. No, I did not do the test. I did not do the quiz. I don't know who that was, but it wasn't me. But it was eyebrow Dax. So it wasn't bad. Anyway, there's this big, beautiful temple from the Mormons, but it basically hides the hotel that I like to stay at. And all the streets have similar names. But yeah, man, I really did like La Jolla. It's a beautiful, beautiful area. Dan Ben says, use blank so I don't get. I read that. Moxie fan says, I hope someone gets kissing Dax. So do I. Dan Ben's had a few issues with YouTube over the weekend. In England recently, the price of food has gone up, especially on this tins of hind soup. Our increase has been on eggs. Dan Ben, and a lot of other things, but a single egg is now like almost, well, I'd say almost the cost of a dozen eggs, but it's getting there. It's actually getting there. Thomas's bird is going to sell the wrong drugs in Times Square tomorrow. I don't go to Times Square, Thomas. Diabetes is one of the medicines I take is the same as my mom's, but the difference is the dosage. You don't want to mix that up. Nope. I agree. Dan Ben, is Times Square the most famous square? Probably. I mean, no, Mamo Frey? What's a more famous square? Tiananmen Square? I think more people know of Times Square than Tiananmen Square. Jedi Bill with $1.55 super chat. Thank you so much, Jedi Bill. Dan Ben says Fry gets worms in Futurama. He does, but those are good worms. And you shouldn't take vet pills. Stanley says it's a big scam. Absolutely. Moxley says the price of eggs is absolutely insane. Absolutely too. Farmer Supply is awesome, says JP's. You can get anything there. Stanley says, I once tried to get another bottle of some eye drops as they had prescribed a year ago for the same eye condition, but they insisted on a $300 checkup before they let me buy the eye drops. Son of a bitch. The Random Menace says, my dog has special food I can buy only at the vet. It's not only the meds like that. That's even more ridiculous. Yeah. Like, oh, you can only buy this food from the vet. Well, fuck you. How about that? Stanley says, and for a cat, they were just eye drops with some antibiotic. Son of a bitch. Dan Ben puts in an egg for Moxley. I hate taking eardrops and eye drops. So would I, Dan Ben. So would I. Stanley's is ending up buying over-the-counter Visine with quote-unquote antibiotic, but they have such small concentration, it takes the whole bottle in a month to clear up the condition. Dan Ben once had an ear syringe. Hated that. Oh, yeah. Stanley says, I love my cat, but $300 just to make sure it's okay to prescribe eye drops. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Dan Ben says, I live near a pharmacy and do not like the opening times. JP's says, hey, Bird. Hey, JP's. Stanley says, Dan, I wore contacts for years. I have no issues sticking things in my eye. I did not. I tried contacts. I had them in one time. The person in the optometrist office where I bought the contacts put them in for me. That were great. I managed to take them out. The next morning, I tried to put them in again. I couldn't do it, and I never tried again. I heard so many awful stories of people who forgot to take the contacts out, fell asleep with them in their eyes, or worse, forgot they took them out and then tried to take them out a second time, but there were no contacts left to take out. And they did terrible things to their eyes. And I said to myself, self, you wear these glasses, and more than once, more than twice, my glasses stopped something from hitting my eye. Over the years that I had been wearing glasses, I was like 20, 22 at this point. I'd only been wearing glasses maybe 5 or 6 years. And already 2 or 3 times, they saved my eye from getting either a giant splinter or a rock or God knows what in the eye. So I was like, why? It's really safer to have eyeglasses than not. And so I decided, yeah, screw contact lenses. I was sticking with the glasses. The only time I regretted not having contact lenses was when we went to play paintball. In college, we went out, we rented whatever we needed, and we went out to, it's a 2.5-hour drive to get out to Pennsylvania to a paintball court. It was not just a court, it was a complex that had a dozen different places in the woods to play paintball, and you went from area to area to area throughout like the 8 hours of the day, and you stopped for lunch, and then you went back out. And so we did a whole day of paintball, and unfortunately, you have to obviously wear a mask over your eyes for protection, and my eyeglasses were too big, so I had to keep my glasses in the car. So I was in the woods without my glasses, trying to shoot people that I could barely see. So, as you might imagine, I didn't do so well. That was what actually, that trip is what spurred me to go try on contacts. And I got the contacts. They came in, they put them in. I was like, yeah, I can do this. They made me take them out and put them in front of them once, and I had a little trouble, but they helped me. But they didn't give a shit. They just wanted to get me out. It's not their problem. They made the sale. So I was like, okay. So I went home with wearing the contacts. That night I took the contacts out. I put them in the fluid, and the next morning I tried to put them in, and they just kept falling out. Then I couldn't tell if they were inside or outside, because try to make sure if they fold the other way, they'll never go back in right. And I was like, I couldn't tell if they were concave or convex, if they were, inside out or not, which way was up, which way was forward and backward. I had no effing clue. And after 15 minutes or whatever, I was just like, fuck it. No. And gonna wear my glasses forever. At some point I said, maybe one day I'll get LASIK. And Sisopre ended up getting LASIK. And I was like, yeah, no, I don't even think I want LASIK. Because again, if I do LASIK, I'm gonna stop wearing glasses. And I really should wear glasses to protect my eye. Now, in hindsight, I guess I could have got LASIK and just wore clear glasses to keep my eyes safe, but I always figured that the LASIK would get a little better if I waited a couple more years, and I'm sure it did. But now at this point, once I got sick and now I can't do anything, there's really no point to even having LASIK done. Stanley says, I wore contacts for years. I have no issues sticking things in my eyes. Good for you. I can't do it. Gorilla's Random Thoughts says, Kapla, all Kapla Gorilla. Mr. Lundell says, I think it's the law for those prescriptions. I know it's the law, but it's a bullshit law. That's the problem. I am the law. Stan Lee says, Dan Ben, I think I was even drunk a few times and yes, that's the scariest thing. Trying to take out contacts that had already been removed. Yeah, still makes me, I don't know what that term is. Still makes me jump. Stanley says, Dan Ben, oh, I wore them like from 18 to 35. Jeez. The multi-gunman's in the house, Kapla. The multi-gunman says, Bird, how's it going? It's going well, multi-gunman. How are you? Professor Brainy Spec says, hello, multi-gunman, my poor ignored friend. The multi-gunman says, the man, the myth, the legend, the Birdo Prey 5. And Yvette says, I found a medication and sent you a DM. Thank you, Yvette. I did see that come in. Maybe it's a way to get Sassy some meds without a prescription. Multi-gunman says, I feel that I'm being ignored by someone, specifically Professor Brainy Spec. He was the first one to greet you. Professor says, does anyone know where multi-gunman is? I'm supposed to ignore him, so I'm not sure if he is here. Wow. Thomas Bott says, I heard the Canadian government is after him. What do we got? They're talking something about Klingons. What? Oh, wow. We had a lot of chat. Pop Culture Curator's in the house. Kapla, Pop Culture Curator. Says, Kapla, Bird, hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well, too. We heard you this morning, Pop Culture Curator. You are still recovering. The multi-gunman says, I have superpowers, just like Invisible Boy from Mystery Men, the 1999 Ben Stiller movie. Pop Culture Curator is saying chocolate pie. That's true, rather than fudge. Mike Richards says, after a year or so in the mines, the orphans make great nightlights. The multi-gunman says, cherry pie. Birdo Prey 5's favorite. Cherry lifesavers are my favorite lifesaver. I don't think they're my favorite pie, though. Stan Lee says, Pop Culture Curator, chocolate pie is just pudding in a crust. And it sounds delicious. And it sounds delicious. Pudding in a crust. Professor Brady Spatz tells Addie in stereo he's having a difficult time believing the story. You don't believe that Pop got out of the wheelchair he was in for 20 years? Don't you believe in miracles, Professor? Dan Ben. Stan Ben. That's like a Tuvix mistake. Sorry. Don't worry, Stan Ben, if you two ever get fused during a transporter accident, I will kill the new being to get you both back home safely. Dan Ben says announcement for Picard trailer, and I do actually have that up in another browser tab, so I won't go to it now. But yeah, next Sunday, there is a final Picard season 3 trailer dropping during a football game. So we will probably be discussing it on Monday. So next Monday, we'll have a new Picard trailer to watch. The Multi-Gun Man says to Stanley, crusty pie, the Krogan treat. Addie in stereo says people on the internet do not lie. So yeah, take that, Professor. Stanley says except Pop Pop finally stood up to turn it down. That's not nice. The Random Menace says, I never buy pie. I make them from scratch. You can never have a good mass-produced pie. Change my mind. I don't know if you've got Enterman's there. The Multi-Gun Man says San Diego, an old German word meaning a whale's vagina. Ron Burgundy. Yes, and if anybody watched my that 90s show review, which not too many people did, from according to YouTube, probably because of the copyright match that YouTube found, which I'm disputing, but I still put it live. I put a reference to Anchorman in that 90s show review when it talked about diversity. And like, why is there an old wooden ship? Because that's from Anchorman. You need to watch Anchorman to get the reference about diversity. Stanley says the Random Menace, you make the crust from scratch too? That's what I was curious about. Stanley says the Random Menace, I agree about the filling, but usually just get pre-made crust. Baking crust is a pain in the ass. The Multi-Gun Man says it has officially become the Bird of Prey 5, ignoring the Multi-Gun Man YouTube channel. Dan Ben says, yes, my mom says the price of eggs in England has gone up lots of other stuff. Professor Brainy expects the Bird of Prey, the most famous square is the center square on Hollywood Squares. I don't know about that. I really don't think 90% of Generation Z or 80% of millennials have any idea what Hollywood Squares even is. Multi-Gun Man says, me, how do I do my taxes? Public school system, shut the F up and dance. And square dance. Oh, square dance. That's a popular square. Jedi Bill was trying for kissing Dax. Well, Jedi Bill, aren't we all? Aren't we all? The Multi-Gun Man says, Professor, as you should be. The Traveler, formerly known as Wesley Crusher Kapla Traveler, says, birds, greetings, birds, salty turds, and nerds. And he says, I have scrambled eggs for breakfast, not realizing you can't get eggs at the store. You can't get eggs at the store. We can get eggs. They're just expensive. You have an egg shortage? Professor Brainy Specs says, I want to know what the letters were in the Traveler. What letters were in the Traveler's scrambled eggs? I don't get it. And Jedi Bill with another $2 super chat. Thank you, Jedi Bill. We'll see if you get to kissing Dax.
We paid $5.59
$5.59 for a dozen eggs. That's cheap, Mama Pray. I was seeing $8, $9, $10. Professor Brainy Specs is Bird. I want to know what letters were in. There it is, Jedi Bill, but not kissing Dax. You got space dock. The tiles give the eggs a delicate crunch, says Mike Richards. Dan Van says, hate when you go to renew a prescription after some time and they make you take a checkup. Stan Lee says, guilty. Who's guilty? Of what? Orphan fingers in the eye, says Todd Jenny. Kapla, Todd Jenny. Stanley says, yeah, my eyeglasses saved me from a few branches, but then again, to be safe, you could wear a helmet every day. Maybe I should. Todd Jenny says, get a visor like X-Men Cyclops Bird. No. Stan Lee says to Todd Jenny, nah, go with sports goggles like Kareem used to. Professor Brainy Specs says, you heard it, Bird. You heard it. Bird tries to shoot people. Todd Jenny says, wow, just like Call of Duty and Space Engineers. Professor Brainy Specs says, Mike Richards is, to be honest, I've been better. Yeah. Stanley says to Todd Jenny, I think a few NBA guys wear non-prescription visors just to avoid getting jabbed in the eye. Todd Jenny yells, Excelsior. Dan Ben puts in, what is that, a sandwich? I can't tell. Oh, it's a gun. It is a water gun? I don't know. Stanley says, make sure you use the correct fluid. That's true. Mike Richards is Professor Brainy Specs. I'm doing okay. It always helps to be here with the gang. It's good to know. Professor Brainy Specs as well. We know why Bird crashes so often. He has no perception of direction. Dan Ben says, do we really need to replace the gun emoji with a water pistol? Yeah, it pisses me off, Dan Ben. It pisses me off. The actual gun emoji, which was a real handgun up until the last couple of years, was replaced with a fucking super soaker water gun. Because, it's too scary to have a picture of a gun. Professor Brainy Specs with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Professor. Says, Bird, you didn't read that correctly. The traveler stated that he had scrambled eggs like the word game. Oh, he had scrambled eggs like the word game, not scrambled eggs. You had scrambled eggs? Well, what did that have to do with the price of eggs? Thank you, Professor. Professor says, Mike Richards, I'm glad you have that. Stanley says, once I accidentally bought the peroxide cleaner fluid instead of saline, putting drops of peroxide directly in your eye hurts just a bit. And he says, yeah, my brother and father had successful LASIK, but I'm too cheap and scared. Says Sofray had successful LASIK too. Dan Benz is over here. You get eye surgery. they charge per eye. They charge per eye here as well. Captain Fandom Nerds is a little kapla captain. Pop culture curator says get the LASIK, then wear safety goggles. Stanley says, yeah, do they still cut the flap in LASIK? That's the part I don't like. Once they figure out a way to not have to cut the flap, I'll be happy. The Random Menace says LASIK is cool. Had it a few years ago. Helped a lot. I can see girls at the other end of the pool without the need to swim over and be a creeper. I see it when I want them to be able to give me better eyesight in 2020. I want like eagle eyes. Dan Ben says, was a news story once of an old lady who had a shower and she reached for something and ended up putting super glue in her eye.
Oh, God.
Yeah. The Traveler says, bird of prey, I wear sunglasses that are impact rated. I need sunglasses to see outside because of a dilation problem. I can believe that. The Random Menace says, Stan Lee, the flap is done only in severe cases when you're practically blind. Todd Jenny says, frosted uranium charms. They are tragically suspicious. Professor Brainsback says, hashtag Janeway did nothing wrong. No doubt in response to Tuvix. Speaking of Tuvix, coming up soon on the Shuttle Pod podcast will be the Tim Russ episode. The Michael Dorn episode was posted yesterday, and it's great. He talks about TNG, DS9, and a little bit what he can talk about of what's upcoming on Picard, and some good stuff. And some not so good stuff too. I mean, from what I hear about Picard, it's not promising. Dan Ben says, if a video gets a copyright claim, does that mean less people watch it? That's the problem, Dan Ben. According to YouTube, they say it doesn't matter. However, according to virtually everyone who does YouTube videos professionally, they've all agreed that it's pretty much like the kiss of death. If YouTube identifies copyrighted content, they don't seem to advertise those videos. And I suppose that if they're not going to put advertising on it, why should they advertise the video? I don't know. It only makes sense to me that they don't advertise it, but they claim it doesn't make any difference. I think it does, as do most other professional YouTubers. Not that I'm really a professional YouTuber, mind you, but people who seem to know more than I do seem to agree that it's a bad thing. Because to be honest, if it was just the fact that they would advertise, they would get the ad revenue themselves, I really wouldn't mind. Because we're talking just a few cents that a video like mine might make over the course of its life. You know, a video like that, even if it got 1,000 views or 2,000 views in a week, that would be nothing. That would pay me nothing. 6 cents if I was lucky, 2 cents if I was lucky, more than likely a cent, maybe 2. It is nothing to worth arguing about or complaining about. However, with the copyright strike, not a strike, but the copyright match against it, I probably won't even get the 6 cents. I probably won't get 1,000 views even after a week. I'll be lucky if it breaks 100 views in a week. The Random Menace is hashtag Strange New Worlds does not break the canon. Okay. This isn't what I'm going to talk about today, but it is something I was thinking about and I'm going to talk about soon. I don't know when, maybe Thursday, maybe next week, maybe never, but I hope to talk about it. So I've been thinking really hard what went wrong with Star Trek. And I realized that it's not Enterprise, it's not Discovery, it's not Picard, it's not Strange New Worlds, it isn't even JJ Trek. And this is going to be a very hard subject for me. But thinking back, and it was something that I very much approved of. And to a point, I mean, I don't want to be a hypocrite. I still enjoy it. But I realize now I shouldn't. I was wrong for liking it when it happened. But there was an episode of Deep Space Nine that killed Star Trek. It was an episode of Deep Space Nine that was the poison pill that would go on to cause the death of the franchise. And I previously was cheering and supported the episode and the story and the ramifications for later seasons. But I realize now that was the thing that Gene Roddenberry, had he been alive, would have used every favor, every secret he had about people, any dirt he knew. He would have used anything in his power to stop this episode from ever coming out, from ever seeing the light of day. And the fact that he had unfortunately already passed away and wasn't around to stop it, and the short-sightedness of Ira Stephen Bear or Stephen Ira Bear, whatever his name is, and the rest of the DS9 writers, they fucked us up. They were the cause. We'll talk about it. Not today. I got to get to my Klingon trivia. Professor Brainy Specs is lolling at Random Menace, saying he's hysterical. Miss Londell says hashtag Strange New World is crap. Absolutely, it is. Random Menace says, when I say all from scratch, I mean from scratch. I made birthday cake for my wife from scratch. Dan Bed says Trafalgar Square in London. I don't know that square. I know Berkeley Square. A nightingale sang in Berkeley Square. I know, 'cause I was there. No, not named after Lieutenant Berkeley. Berkeley? Broccoli. Barclay. Barclay Square. A nightingale sang in Berkeley Square. It's spelled Berkeley. At least in London it is. The multi-gun man says Random Menace is attempting to oust Berto Prey 5 as dictator of Karoga. I don't think he is. It's a fake, says JP's. John DeMarcus is an hour into the stream and still no Klingon trivia. Clearly clickbait. No, we're going to do it. We're going to do the.
So what episode screwed up Star Trek?
That's what I said. We're going to hold that off for another time.
Oh.
This is just a tease, I'm afraid.
Oh.
This is called the tease. I'll let people try and guess. I mean, it's not hard. The way I explained it, I'm sure somebody here will figure it out. Dan Ben says, John DeMarco, it's a Klingon trivia quiz. I sent him a link recently. Yes, that's the one, Dan Ben. John DeMarco says, that's what Bird would like us to think. Multi-gun man says, Bird has outlawed scrambled eggs. I did not outlaw scrambled eggs because birds come from eggs and he's a bird. Wait, no, wrong kind of bird. What's up, Mama?
I have over 100 birds.
Mama Frey has over 100 birds.
I walk out the door and they all surround me.
Yeah, Mama Frey has taken to feeding the birds of the neighborhood. And they all wait for her to come outside. Hundreds and hundreds of birds, from little sparrows to large ravens, or whatever they might be, hawks. Actually, the hawks are waiting for the small birds to eat them. And beautiful robins and the other red birds and bluebirds and all cardinals. Multi-gun man says, all hail John DeMarco, Minister of Propaganda for the Krogan Empire. Multi-gun man says, John DeMarco, Bird of Prey is going to promote you on this live stream. I may have spoken too soon. Absolutely. John DeMarco's Jep Nerdy on Saturday evenings is great. Today, John DeMarco put up the animated series, The Last Line video, and everybody should watch it and memorize it for future Jep Nerdy. Dan Ben says YouTube owns emojis and don't make a lot of sense. That's true, but a lot of places replaced the real gun with a water gun. Some people replaced it with like a future phaser looking gun. Gorilla's Random Thoughts is my Walton's one. Got copyright hits, and those are my most watched. Well, they're watched live, yes. But uploaded videos. The multi-gun man says, Dan Ben, and you can do this. Yes, you can do lots of things with emojis. Okay, we're skipping ahead to any at Birdo Prey 5 comments. Multi-gun man says, Professor Brainy Specs, I never pay attention. Birdo Prey 5 doesn't allow me to pay attention. Multi-gun man says, Bird of Prey, I'll tell you what went wrong with Star Trek. The people currently in control of Star Trek are members of the backwards-headed woke cult of retardation. Well, that too. Miss Lundell says, nothing about DS9 killed Trek. DS9 enhanced Trek. I want to believe that, Miss Lundell, but thinking and thinking and thinking about it, I have come to this ultimate conclusion. It's just not true. And John DeMarco knew where I was going. John DeMarco hit it on the head. The way Section 31 was used in DS9 was not the problem. It's how Section 31 was used after that. The problem, John, in my opinion, is that Section 31 exists at all. Don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of Section 31. But Section 31 is a poison pill. Section 31 is what ruined Star Trek. Okay, had the DS9 writers never written Section 31, it wouldn't have existed for the Star Trek 2009 people to fuck with, and it certainly wouldn't have existed for Star Trek Discovery. Okay, they were not smart enough to come up with Section 31. The very essence of Section 31's existence, that it was the anti-Roddenberry. Section 31 was everything Gene Roddenberry hated. Section 31 was antithetical, you know what I'm saying, to Gene Roddenberry's vision of Trek. And once it existed, it was like antimatter to Gene Roddenberry's vision, and the two could not exist without annihilating each other. And that is what is causing the downfall of Trek. And Jedi Bill with a $1.50 donation. Thank you, Jedi Bill. Got a little Commander Shran. No, it wasn't the destruction of the Odyssey, Martin. It was the creation of Section 31. Professor Brainy Specs, I thought Bird of Prey had lost it before. He has doubly lost it now. Deep Space Nine killed Trek. Not Deep Space Nine, one episode. The existence of Section 31. The creation of Section 31. Professor says, I see Bird of Prey ignored my comment. I just got to it, Professor. He's setting everyone up for clickbait, says Mr. Lundell. No, we'll talk about it in a future episode. Professor says, Bird of Prey, since people on the internet don't lie, as you agreed with Addy and Stereo, then you must believe when I tell you that Jeopardy is an honestly run and completely fair game for all players. That is quite the conundrum, because Professor Brainy Specs is a person on the internet, and people on the internet don't lie. Unless you're a bot, Professor. How do I know you're not a bot? The multi-gunman wants to form an ignored club. LDG says Wordle. Yes, we got to do Wordle too. Professor Brainy Specs is the multi-gunman. I'm ignoring you. I will just throw out to everyone. We should form a club. We'll call it the Ignored Club. Okay, I'm awake now, ready for Klingon trivia. Hey, Deej. Kapla Deej, welcome back. Kyle was always Asian, says Random Menace. Professor says it was rejoined. It wasn't rejoined. It wasn't rejoined. The multi-gunman says, yes, I'm to be ignored, specifically by Professor Brainy Specs. and Deej Odyssey by order of Bird of Prey 5 and Minister of Propaganda John DeMarco. And Dan Ben said Section 31 was in season 4 of Enterprise. Yes, but it wouldn't have been had it hadn't been created in DS9. Miss Lodell says the existence of Section 31 is actually brilliant. The multi-government bird prey. Well, in my opinion, if you want realism in Star Trek, then Section 31 has to exist because every power has something like it, and the current people would have found another way to ruin it. Captain Phantom Nerds at Section 31 in New Trek is garbage. Deej Odyssey says hashtag blame DS9 for Section 31. This one organizations like Section 31 exist as we speak. Yes, they do. Captain Phantom Nerd with a $1 donation. Thank you, Captain Phantom Nerd. I know they exist, Miss Londell, but they exist now. The future was supposed to be more utopian. The future, the Federation is supposed to be against everything that Section 31 is. And while I believe that Section 31 is logical, it's not supposed to be a logical future. It's supposed to be a better future, a future where we believe in our leaders, where we believe in our government, where the government isn't working in the shadows with a secret agenda, where frankly, they're not committing crimes to stay in power. And they're not committing crimes, even if the crimes are for the benefit of humanity, even if the crimes are for the benefit of the Federation, they're still crimes. The whole point, the future that Gene Roddenberry wanted us to have, was that there'd come a time when we could trust those in power. We could trust in fellow man or fellow officer or fellow, I don't want to say human being, but fellow citizen of the galaxy, that we could trust each other. And Section 31 is the opposite of that. Yes, Section 31 was in the Kelvin timelines. It was basically the second movie. Into Darkness was all Section 31. Professors is Bird of Prey, hashtag hail on Karoga, especially Bird of Prey's head. Professors is Bird of Prey is nuts. Yeah, well, I didn't think I'd get it through to everybody quickly. But okay, so we're going to take a quick Geologia break, and then we will
I've been playing daughter roles for so
play
long.
Klingon trivia.
People forget I'm grown up with kids of my own. I'm certainly grown up enough to know that soap can dry out your face. So I wash with Noxzema skin cream every day. Noxzema makes my face feel really clean. It doesn't dry, puts moisture in, makes my skin feel soft, younger looking. I've been washing with Noxzema for a long time now, and well, so far so good.
Good skin starts with Noxzema every day. Greaseless, medicated Noxzema skin cream.
You're cool, you're crisp, you're hard to resist, you're bright, ooh, refreshingly light, ooh, you're Canada dry. You're a singular style, you're a reason to smile, you're clever, you're neat, you're never too sweet. Ooh, you're Canada dry, you tickle, you rake, and you laugh, oh, ooh, you're Canada dry, ooh, you're Canada dry.
I'm Maud Adams. For natural flavor, I like Cot. A lot. Because Cot beverages are made with real honest-to-goodness fruit. like sweet, juicy oranges, tart lemons and limes, luscious strawberries and raspberries, and succulent grapes. 30 delicious flavors, including diet flavors, non-carbonated flavors, and the best root beer you've ever tasted. All natural, all great. Enjoy the good taste of cod.
Natural tastes better, so it's got to be good.
Go on, why resist it?
Sugar-free Jell-O gelatin. Give in, give in, give in to the taste. Cool and refreshing, deliciously tempting.
It tastes like jello to me.
How can it be? Give in, give in, give in to the taste.
It's made with NutraSweet. And it's only 8 calories.
Sugar-free Jell-O gelatin. Give in, give in, give in to the taste.
I've been on my feet 6 hours. You know how I feel? I feel like dancing.
Sheer energy.
It makes me feel like dancing.
Sheer energy.
It makes my legs feel that good. Sheer Energy pantyhose look terrific. And they stimulate, refresh, so I really feel like dancing.
Try Sheer Energy, because nothing beats a great pair of legs.
This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
It's yours?
No,
Your mother said she found it in your closet.
I don't know. One of the guys must have...
Must have what?
Look, Dad, it's
Where
not...
did you get it?
Dad,
Answer me. Who taught you how to do this stuff?
You, all right? I learned it by watching you.
You learned it by watching you. The Random Menace says Section 31 saved Discovery. As they were saving Dr. Culber from the spore space, they are good guys. Miss Londell says Bird of Prey without Section 31, the Federation would not exist. The goody-goody liberal crap never works. People end up slaves because of it. Yeah, but that's in real life. This is fiction. Professor Brainy Specs is Bird of Prey. When are you going to start making sense in some way close to Jean DeMarco? I make perfect sense. We want, Deej says, hashtag, we want tennis ball thrown against the wall. Well, Deej, that's on your streams and Kai's streams. I don't have that video clip. Dr. Alex says, kapla, Dr. Alex. Okay, let's head over and do some Klingon trivia. Let's real quick. Community Manager Appreciation Day, National Handwriting Day, National Pie Day, Better Business Communication Day, International Sticky Toffee Pudding Day, Measure Your Feet Day, God only knows why, National King Day, honor you today whether you're royalty or your name is simply king. National, I misread this at first. I was like, National what day? How dare they have a day for that? Talking about grooming kids and National Pedo Day. And then I looked, there's an R. National Pedro Day. Pedro. Pedro. National Pedro Day. Pedro Day. Yeah. National Report Pharmaceutical Fraud Day. National Rhubarb Pie Day. So it is both Pie Day, National Pie Day, and National Rhubarb Pi Day. I think that probably should be fixed up. Snowplow Mailbox Hockey Day. What? Mount your trucks with the best plow blades as we celebrate mailbox thrashing. And Wellington Anniversary Day. I don't know what the fuck that means. So yeah. It's National Pedro Day. Samir, yeah, not exactly, but close. Vote Pedro. Vote Pedro. Okay, so Klingon trivia. Klingon trivia from usefultrivia.com. And thank you, Dan Ben, for sending this. I expect for a perfect score. Anything less would be dishonorable and very possibly may indicate a rigged game. So we'll see. Number one, which Star Trek actor originally devised the Klingon language? And I know it was Scotty, James Doohan. Yes, the Klingon language has become the most popular fictional language in the world, but it began as just a few simple words developed by James Doohan, the actor who played Scotty on the original series. It was later developed by linguist Mark Okrand into a more complex language. Number two, what is the name of the Klingon homeworld? It is Kronos with a Q. And actually, I don't believe that's the correct spelling. I believe it's anyway. Q-O'-N-O-S, as they have it spelled here. There have been many spellings in both English and Klingonese. And yes, Kronos translated to Chronos. Speaking of which, where's Kronos? Not here today. In English is the capital of the Klingon Empire. It includes a lone huge landmass with a vast ocean, severely tilted axis that causes wild seasonal changes, a turbulent atmosphere, and extremes of both warm and frigid weather. And those targs, got to keep those targs in at night. 3, if a Klingon warrior is captured during battle, he brings dishonor on his house for how many generations? 9, 7, 5, or 3? 7 generations. What? 5? No, it wasn't 5 either. 3 generations. I think this is rigged. This is rigged. The dishonor of the father dishonors his sons and their sons for 3 generations. Shit. I'm only at the 3rd question. I've already got one wrong. I think this game is rigged. I think it's 7. Mama Pray thinks it's 5. 4. What was the first Star Trek episode in which Klingons appeared? Balance of Terror? Nope. Errand of Mercy? Yes. Shore Leave? Nope. Or the Corbinite Maneuver? Nope. Errand of Mercy. In Errand of Mercy, Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock attempt to sway the incomprehensible placid population of a planet near the Klingon border to resist an invading military occupation. The Random Menace says, fun fact, the size of your foot is the distance between your wrist and elbow. I don't think that's true. No. Kapla Samir. Phantom Outsider says, wait, Bird of Prey, I thought French was also fictional. I didn't say it was the only fictional language. It's not 69 generations. John DeMarco thinks it was 3. Wow. Phantom Outside says it was 3 because usually that would be all the living members of the family. And Stan Lee says, F that, I'm holding a grudge for at least 5. Okay. 5. What bladed weapons do the Klingons use in battle? The Batleth. The Feklar. No, that's Klingon hell. Jacques Tala. I don't even know what the fuck that means. Batleth. According to Klingon mythology, the first Batleth, or Sword of Honor, was forged by Kahless the Unforgettable in the 9th century. And I brought my actual metal Batleth to college one day back in the days when you could do those things, because I had to give a speech with props for my speech class. So I decided to give a speech on Klingon weapons. So I brought my Batleth, my Mechleth, and my knife, which I forget. Yeah, today I'd be shot, I'm afraid. Yeah, the school would be in lockdown. But in those days, I sold knives out of the back of my Jeep in the parking lot of the school. I had I called it Kapla Blades. I had a price list. I printed out a bunch of the price lists, and I keep them in the back of the Jeep. People walk by. I'd give them the paper. They'd look at what they wanted. Sell them a bunch of knives. Anyway, what creature helped expose the Klingon plot on Deep Space Station K7? The Tribble, the Melkut, it's not that. The Horta, or the Targ. Of course, it was our friendly Tribble. The trouble with Tribbles, a previously unknown species. Did you hear that? Did you hear that, Star Trek Discovery? A previously unknown species of small, unbearably cute, voraciously hungry, and rapidly multiplying furry creatures expose a surgically altered Klingon spy and save the day. And yes, I know there was a Tribble in Enterprise, but that Tribble was perfectly fine because only Phlox knew about it, and Hoshi certainly wasn't going to write a log about it. To Hoshi, it was just a food, an animal he fed his lizard or something. Hoshi didn't remember a Tribble. Okay, it's perfectly within the canon. It's Discovery which ruined the canon. 7. What is the brief period of Klingon democracy called? The Dark Time. There it is. The Dark Time. It's not the Enlightenment. It's not the Gilded Age. And although it would be funny, it's not the Day of Fools. It was the Dark Time. Following the fall of the Second Dynasty, the Klingon Empire was ruled by a council elected by the people. This was the first and only experiment in Klingon democracy. The experiment ended after just 10 years and was afterwards referred to as the Dark Time. That was from the DS9 episode where Worf, You Are Cordially Invited, where Worf and Jadzia got married. 8. According to Klingon mythology, who was the first Klingon? Atram, Kortar, Antak, or Greythor? Oh shit. That's right. It's not Kahless. Oh my God.
I don't think it was a
I think it's Kortar. Yes. Kortar and his mate destroy the gods who created them, and as punishment, Kortar was condemned to ferry the souls of the dishonored to Grey Thor on the barge of the dead. See, I knew the Grey Thor was, but I knew it wasn't a person. What is the name of the Klingon moon? Syntrax, Praxis, Fenris, or Arcus? Well, Praxis is one of the moons. Their key energy production facility. The destruction of Praxis was a plot point in Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. The after effects driving the plot of the film and later events in the television series Star Trek The Next Generation. 10. Which Klingon served aboard the Enterprise NCC 1701D? Worf, Gowron, Martok, or Chang? What a great group of Klingons. But of course, we all know it was Worf. Worf spent most of his first year on the Enterprise D as a relief officer for the Khan and other bridge stations, following the death of Natasha Yar at the hands of the Armus entity. He became acting security chief. And if you watch the Shuttlepod podcast, this one that came out yesterday with Michael Dorn, of course, the actor who plays Worf, he talks about how he was late to the party. He was the last TNG cast member hired. They had already started filming the series when he came in. And yeah, it was a weird experience for him. He was the last one on, and they really didn't know what they were going to do with his character until Tasha died and left. And then there's also some DS9 stuff too, about when he got to DS9, how a lot of people didn't like him. They thought he was there to take over. Anyway, moving on to page 2 of 3. Who were the Klingons named after? A fighter pilot, a bank robber, a police officer, or an accountant? Who were the Klingons named after? What the hell type of question is that? Klingons named after? Koloth? I don't know. I know Gene was a pilot. He was also a police officer. I don't know. Malo Bray thinks accountant. Because they cling on to money. I know there's people writing in the chat. I'm purposely not looking at the chat. I don't know. I'm feeling fighter pilot. Ah, shit. I was thinking then bank robber. Fuck. Police officer? It was police officer. They were named after Lieutenant Wilbur Klingon, who served with Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry in the Los Angeles Police Department. Klingon. Okay. I honestly did not know that. 12. How were Klingons described in the original TV script? Feral, crustacean, brutish, or oriental? I feel like brutish. But I also worry that it's a trick question and that they're described as oriental. Ah, shit, it wasn't brutish. Is it feral? No, shit. Was it crustacean? Oh no, it was Oriental. I didn't want to hit it. Felt like it would be racist. The Klingon appearance has evolved over the years, but screenwriter Gene L. Kuhn's only physical description of them in his Errand of Mercy script was Oriental and hard-faced. Archer did not experiment on tribbles. No, I know he didn't. Bob did not discover tribbles. Phantom Outsiders is especially since Phlox used tribbles to feed the animals he kept in sick bay. Phantom Outsiders says, yeah, Kotor. Stanley knew Praxis. Do they get easier? Wharf for 10. John and Mark says they mean Roddenberry got the name Klingon from the name of somebody he knew. Yeah, a police officer. Eventually he got it. Lieutenant Wilbur Klingon. You knew that, 47? Very good. Dan Ben says, I took the Star Trek quiz on the website and got a question about Richard Nixon referring to part of the government as Klingons. The Senate. He called the Senate Klingons. I learned about that watching the podcast, the Shuttle Pad podcast, just yesterday. Gotta go politically incorrect, you racist bastard. 13. What did Worf say when asked about the differences in appearances between the smooth-skinned early Klingons and the ridged appearance of later Klingons? He says, we do not discuss it with outsiders. Worf acknowledged the difference in appearances when the crew of Deep Space Nine returned to the 23rd century in the episode Trials and Tribulations, but offered no explanation, saying merely we do not discuss it with outsiders. 14. What is Klingon puberty called? Puda Kacha, Kapet, Makdar, or Jak Tala. Oh my God, this one is, I know the next one. Which Klingon ailment is similar to human acne? That's a gorch. But, which is it? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Where it stops, let him go. God damn it. Jak Tala is a phase in Klingon's maturation roughly analogous to puberty. Though according to Jean-Luc Picard, the word hardly does it justice. Its effects include accelerated hair growth, mood swings, increased aggressive tendencies, odd cravings for the blood of live Kohler beast. So which Klingon ailment is similar to human acme? A gorch. In 2375, due to his exposure to metaphasic radiation on the Baku planet, Lieutenant Commander Worf acquired a gorch on his nose, even though he was 35 years old and well past the Jak Tala. Oh, you see, had I answered it out of order, it might have told me the answer. Which Klingon was fond of quoting Shakespeare? Chang. General Chang quoted Shakespeare throughout Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. In fact, his final line, spoken just before he is obliterated by torpedo fire, is lifted from Hamlet's famous soliloquy, to be or not to be. Which bit of human anatomy is missing in Klingons? Tear ducts. Hardly Trust me, that Klingon bitch did not shed one bloody tear. And hardly conclusive, as the Klingons do not have tear ducts, says Mr. Spock. Klingons have never been seen to cry. This is due to the fact they do not possess tear ducts. This does not mean Klingons don't feel sadness. They simply express their emotions differently. Which Klingon tried to delete the Klingon genes from her unborn child? That was B'Elanna Torres. Certainly not Grilka. In Star Trek Voyager's episode Lineage, B'Elanna Torres pushes for genetic alterations to her unborn child in order to make her more human before her human husband convinces her to embrace her Klingon heritage. 19. What did U.S. President Ronald Reagan say the Klingons reminded him of? Congress, trilobites, his ex-wife, or the Russians? The Russians? No, Congress. Ronald Reagan visited the set during filming of Star Trek, The Next Generation episode Redemption, which involved an approaching Klingon civil war. Can you imagine that? To me, it feels like Ronald Reagan's presidency ended long before TNG ever began. But they were already up to redemption when Reagan was still in office. Anyway, he visited the episode Redemption, which involved approaching Klingon civil war, asked what he thought of Klingons. Reagan remarked, "I like them. They remind me of Congress." Number 20, what variation of the Starfleet uniform dress code was Worf allowed on the Enterprise D? That whatever the fuck that thing is that goes across his body. A baldric, a greaves, a cuirass, or a pauldron. I have no idea what that's called. I think it's a cuirass. Nope, a pauldron. A greaves, fuck. It's a baldric. Worf was permitted to wear a Klingon warrior sash, sometimes called the baldric, over his regular duty uniform. I don't think that's really a Klingon question, to be fair. This is a rigged question. 30. Which Klingon conspired with Romulans at Kittimer? Moog? No. Doras. Gerald or Lursa? Duras. What do you mean? Wait. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What Klingon conspired with the Romulans at Kittimer? The Duras. Gerard was assigned to the outpost of Kittimer. He provided shield codes to the Romulan attack force, enabling them to lower the outpost field and devastate the outpost. What the fuck is this? Are they serious? It wasn't Moog. It's not Worf's father. It was Duras. I'm sure it was Duras. Does anybody out there? John, are you out there? Professor? Professor says Gerard was Doris's father. God damn it. What kind of animal does Klingons keep as pets? Targs. Targs are foraging animals native to Kronos, which somewhat resemble Terran boars with spikes on their backs. Klingons enjoy hunting wild targ, but are also commonly kept targs as pets. And they also eat targs, which is really weird. What was the name of the first Klingon emperor? Kahless. Sometime in the 9th century, Kahless defeated his enemies, including Molar and Fekle, on the field of battle, founded the mighty Klingon Empire, uniting the Klingon people, giving them the laws of honor. Upon his death, Kahless promised he would return one day and lead the Empire again. What Klingon dish did Worf's human mother prepare for him as a child? Well, I know gok is a Klingon dish, but I don't think that's what she prepared. Brigit lung soup, roque blood pie. I think it was the blood pie. Yeah. Roqued blood pie was one of Worf's favorite foods. When he was a child, his adoptive mother, Helena Roshenko, learned how to prepare it just for him. However, she never acquired a taste for it herself. Which class of Klingon starship was introduced in Star Trek III, The Search for Spock? Obviously, it was the Bird of Prey. The Bird of Prey is the first Klingon vessel depicted with a cloaking device. The Boeing Bird of Prey, a real-life Black Project aircraft intended to demonstrate stealth technology, was named after the Klingon Bird of Prey. Which Klingon married Quark? Grilka. After Quark took credit for killing her husband, even though he had actually fallen on his own blade, Grilka forced the Ferengi to marry her at knife point so she could retain control of her house. What was the name of Worf's son? Alexander. What a disappointment. Alexander was conceived during a brief encounter between Worf and the Klingon ambassador. What? Alexander Roshenko is the name. Yeah, but his name is just Alexander. Conceived during a brief encounter between Worf and the Klingon ambassador when she came aboard the USS Enterprise D in an effort to defuse a political crisis presented by the return of a Klingon D7 class battlecruiser, the IKS Ta'ong, which had been dispatched decades before as a sleeper ship. 28. Which species did the Klingons fight in the Battle of Klatch Dek Brak? Ferengi, Romulans, Borg, or Vulcans? What? Which species did the Klingons fight in the Battle of Klak Dekal Brak? I'm guessing Romulans? It's either Romulans or Vulcans. Romulans. The Battle of Klak Dekal was a decisive battle fought between Klingon and Romulan empires in 2271. The Klingon forces, led by Kor, achieved a memorable victory. And 29. What was the first stage play to be performed entirely in Klingon? A Klingon Christmas Carol, The Importance of Being Klingon, Klingon on a Hot Tin Roof, or Death of a Klingon? I thought it was Hamlet. I have no idea. A Klingon Christmas Carol. Yes. Originally created as a fundraiser for Comedia Begrard Theater Company in 2007, A Klingon Christmas Carol is Charles Dickens' classic tale of ghosts and redemption, adapted to reflect Klingon values of courage and honor, translated into Klingon, and performed with English super titles. Well, what's my score? Share this page. You don't tell me what my score is. How do you not do this test? You don't say congratulations. You know, you got a 87 or something. What if I share it? Does it share the score? Klingon trivia. No. Well, I'm not going to share it if you're not going to tell me my score. God damn it. Well, let's see. Oh, God damn it. The answers are gone. Okay, well, we got that right. Okay, we got one question wrong here. We got one question wrong. We got one question wrong per page. Yeah, we got this question wrong. Well, we got this question wrong too. So 3 questions wrong. Did we get puberty wrong? I think so. 4 questions. Still don't believe this. So 5 questions. We got 5 questions wrong out of 29. 5 out of 29. So that's 29 divided by 5 times 100. No. 5 divided by 29 times 100. 17 points wrong. So 100 minus 17, 83. 83. God damn, that's shitty. That was one shitty score. Ah, my honor. Yes, I did fail, Professor. I did fail. Yeah, I thought Duras was the family name too, Stanley. They certainly made it seem that way. Deej says Gerard was a male Klingon and citizen of the Klingon Empire in the 24th century. He was the father of Duras, Lurser, and Bator, and the leader of the House of Duras. Why would it be the House of Duras if he was the leader? Wouldn't it be the House of Gerard? Phantom Outsider says Klingons are odd. They eat their dogs. That is bad form. Yeah, very, very bad. Jeremy was Worf's true son, says Phantom Outsider. Dan Ben says technically the first Klingon ship with a cloaking device was in the animated series. Oh, very good catch, Dan Ben. Baitor still has the best Klingon rack, says Deej. Kalar is pronounced Kalar. Thank you, Mr. Londell. They Fort Karogan, says Multi-Gunman. Phantom Outsider says Rom. Dan Ben says, I think there was a Holosuite program at Quark. Phantom Outsider knew it was a Christmas Carol. Deed says it's pronounced Beauregard. Beauregard. That doesn't, I don't, Beauregard. Professor, yes, I failed. Too embarrassing to show the score. Stanley. Ms. Lundell says there's still more. Click the arrows. There's no more, Miss Lundell. There's no more. It's a no sign. It only goes to 3. Next to the 3, I think there's an arrow. There is not. There is not. Yeah, you've got to keep track of it yourself, Stan. Dr. Scotty says Sculty scored 100 on the Klingon tab. Bullshit. Bullshit. Fandom, I don't count the Duras question because it was a member of the Duras family. Are there more? There's no more questions. 29 is a weird number of questions. I agree. You are now dishonored for 3 generations. Stanley says, is that his first name? Stanley says, well, if you had a pet pig, you'd eat it too. That's probably true. There are no more questions. There are no more questions. Okay, what there is are some dear bops. Okay, there are a few dear bops, and then I'm going to end the stream to eat dinner. So let's get our dear bops. There's only 5 dear bops, so let's get there. Oh, Wordle, I gotta do Wordle. Okay, before I get to dear bops, we'll do Wordle. Mama Pray. Mama Pray reminded me about Wordle. So, what I heard is that it took LDG six times to get to Wordle. I don't know. Okay. Let's go with Arise, and we got the E in the right place. So let's see. P-L A-E-I-O-U F-L-U-T-E. Flute. Nice. We got the L and the U in the right spot. P-L-U Fluke. Fluke, is that a word? It is a word. Unfortunately, it's not at all useful. What's else? What other words of glue? G-L-U, glue, gloom. Jesus Christ. What other words can start with an L? With an L in the second place. QL, no. WL, no. EL, I mean, I suppose it could be a vowel. YL, no. UOL, oh, loop. Oh. DL, HL, no. JL, no. 2 L's, not that I'm aware of. ZL, CL, CL, U, Clune, Clune, Clue, Clube, Cluve,
You paid it already.
Cluse, Clux, Clues, Cluel, Cluge, Clue, Clued, Clo,
If you
Clue. No, we can't have 2 U's. Cloy,
already called the company and they told you don't
LU,
that it's
Clue, UE, Clue, Cluke. Okay, so it's not a C. What else could it be? Blue, 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 balloon, bloob,
don't worry about it.
bloob,
The bill goes through the mail.
bloove,
Bill is automatic.
bloose,
Goes to everybody.
bloxy, blues, blue,
And it's no money.
bluge,
Then
blue,
it's because if you take payments
blued,
on anything.
bludge. Ah, blued. God damn it.
But if I want to pay the $50,
Allude. Allude? No, it can't be allude. A's already been used. A is not it. Allude? Allude. It's not that. Elude. Elude. Jesus Christ. That was a hard one. That was a hard one. And I have no idea. I mean, I elude. I guess when you elude something, that's, you know, elude to get away from something. That's what we're dealing with. Evade or escape. Okay, so elude. I've obviously I knew what elude meant. I don't know. It looks funny. It feels like it's not. It feels like it should be spelled differently. The random menace says the next one solved. And good for you. Yes, the right answer was eluding me. Excuse me. So close and yet so far. Okay. Deed says about time. I solved it 5 minutes ago. Yeah, JP's. I guess that one eluded you. Professor says Borgard. Borgarded. Borgard. That was a hard one. That's what she said. Yeah. Okay, so as I was saying, on to Dear Bops. Gary Katzer, aka Rock Solid, with a direct email, says, connect 2 monitors to 1 laptop. There is a YouTube link to a shorts. What do you want to do if you want to connect more than 1 monitor to a laptop? Oh, for $59.99, a USB multi-port hub, 2 HDMI ports, and USB-C is only for power. That's unfortunate. Jesus Christ. This is a long minute. Okay, so Rock Solid has the answer if you need to put 2 monitors to a single laptop. And Gary Katzer says, so you accuse me of lying. I don't stand for that, so I'm out. All the best. I'm not saying you're lying. I'm just saying that you might be soft putty. The evidence points to it. Dear Bob, do you know how often airplanes crash? I'm thinking just once, but they wanted to verify. Yeah, most of the time if an airplane crashes, it only crashes once. Although there have been times, I'm sure, where an airplane said a minor crash has been rebuilt and then later crashed again. JP says externally powered USB hubs suck donkey balls. And Random Menace prefers his $200 docking station. Dear Bob, name something that seems brutish, but really isn't. I'll go first. A British museum. I don't get it. Brutish is like mean, right? Like angry and mean. Like a brutish man. Characteristic of a brute. Yeah. Brutish behavior. Yeah. So, what is brutish? Oh, the Star Trek Picard Season 3 trailer is coming next week, by the way, guys. Next week we'll have it. It's going to drop next Sunday. Sunday on CBS Football during the halftime show of the playoff game. In the meantime, there's a little bit of the trailer available. We got a little bit of Worf. We got a little bit of Deanna Troi. Basically, we get to see all the TNG characters. We got to see the plumber, the villain. So, yeah. We get to see the Titan and the Enterprise. It'll be a very interesting trailer. Should be ready for next week. Just a heads up. Yes, Mama Pray. Yes, I did Wordle.
Oh.
I got it. I got it at the very last try, but I got it.
I don't know if Jeff or
Professor Rainey
Yellowstone.
Speck. Professor Rainey Speck.
Brainy.
Professor Brainy Specs and the Random Menace are both here.
Okay, and Yvette maybe?
Maybe, but it's kind of late for her.
Okay, but I got a quick story about this morning's Wordle. I didn't get it until the third try. I got up about 6 and I hadn't had coffee yet. And I put the first word in and I got the last letter in yellow. I thought it was green. So the second word I put in had the same last letter in the wrong spot again. And I'm saying to myself, what is wrong with me? Why is this word eluding me? And as I said that to myself, I realized all the letters were yellow in the wrong spot, and I had the word. Never again will I try it until my coffee is done.
Professor Brainy Specs says, Bird of Prey, is a rebuilt plane still the same plane? Yes.
Yeah, that's it, guys. I couldn't believe it. And then I thought,
It's eluding me. Yeah.
yes. And then I realized,
I get it, Mom.
yeah, I know. I'd rather blame the coffee than my age.
Gotcha.
Okay. Everybody have a good evening, or night, or morning, whatever.
Deed says, fun fact, Bird finally had a dream where he didn't crash. See this morning's live stream. Yeah, I talked about it at the beginning of the stream. 47 Yorktown says, out-of-date spam is greater than Picard. Dan Ben says, Bird of Prey, do you like the Titan A design? I mean, I don't hate it. I don't say I love it, but I like it. The multi-gunman says, Mamo Bray 5 is the best. Absolutely. Professor Brainy Specs says, Bird of Prey, Mamo Prey always has coffee before Wordle. The Random Menace says, hi, Mamo Prey. The next one is up.
Oh, okay.
John DeMarco says, coffee first is a good policy. And Deej says, a little fireball in the coffee makes it even better.
No, I've never had Fireball. Don't know what it is. I mean, I know what it is, but I've never had it. But if I was having tea, a little bit of Baron Jaeger in it is good. But I
Yes.
don't have any Baron Jaeger. Haven't had it for years, actually.
Baron Jaeger is a honey liqueur that Mamo Prey is fond of.
I mean, I could buy it, but I just don't.
Yeah. Dear Bop, Wes here. Yes, the real Wes. I have something I want to get off my chest, so I'm going to open up a bit to everyone here. I was born with a learning disability. It affects my speech, reading, and writing abilities. I've overcome most of it, but spelling is still difficult at times, especially if I'm in a rush. I will often replace letters in a work with incorrect ones, sometimes spelling words half backwards or just the wrong word in a sentence. I know the, quote, intellectuals in the chat don't mean any harm. We often poke fun of each other in good fun. That being said, I often feel stupid or inferior for my spelling errors. I can't help it because of growing up with this difficulty. So I hope everyone understands that it's just going to be the way I type, unless under the best conditions for me. Thank God for spell check. Wes out. Wes, thank you so much for being honest and talking about stuff like that. It's good. It's good we remember that not everyone can type as well as us, even under the best conditions. It's a reminder that we're not all the same. And it's certainly nothing to worry about, nothing to feel bad about. It's what makes us who we are. So thank you, Wes. I appreciate that you sharing that with us. And I hope everybody remembers that.
I was never diagnosed with anything because in those days when I was a child, they didn't believe in diagnosing anything. But without spell check, I couldn't write 3 sentences. I really cannot spell. I think I was like 12 years old before I could spell my middle name. I swear to God. It was, spelling to me was very hard. It still is. That's why I try not to write too much. I speak more than I write.
That's true.
It is true.
That's true. Who is Wes? Wes, I assume, is Wesley Crusher, aka the Traveler. But I can't say for sure, but I safely say that is the real Wes. Dear Bop, I can't believe they didn't ask if Worf was gay or not on the Klingon test. The guy definitely showed a lot of indications. Gary Katzer. It's clearly not from actual Rock Solid. Because as he said, he would email us when it's really him. Dear Bob, my wife asked me if I heard there was a shortage of tampons in New York. Of course, I responded to her, there are a lot of pussies there. Salty. Also, clearly not from Salty. Dear Bob, what's the difference between a bad penny? I'm not even going to go. Dear Bob, which do people dislike more? Star Trek V, Discovery, Strange New Worlds, The Rise of Skywalker, or The Last Jedi? I would say people think The Last Jedi is probably the worst on the list. Although I would say Star Trek Discovery. Okay. Anyway, that's the Dear Bops for today. Thank you all for hanging out. It's been a long road. I hope Elihu finally got on a plane. He's supposed to be on his way out to Washington, D.C. Stanley was a much better speller in university. Random Menace's spell check is my savior, especially switching between languages. It makes me doubt myself all the time. Professor says the Traveler, I apologize. I make typing mistakes all the time. I was laughing with you about it, not at you. You have my sincere apologies. Stanley says, humble brag when I accidentally speak my other language. Yeah. Dan Van says, one thing my Android phone does is sometimes put a capital I in the middle of a sentence instead of a lowercase I. Oh, Dan Ben, the I is supposed to be capital. Anytime the word I is written in a sentence, it's always a capital I. It's one of the quirks of the English language. The word I is always capitalized. The word I, yeah. Professor Brainy Specs says, what is Discovery on a Star Trek? Oh, that's true. That's true. Discovery is the worst, says John DeMarco. Indeed, there's no Rise of Skywalker is the worst. It didn't even have a Skywalker rising. It had a Palpatine. Farewell from Columbus, Ohio. Farewell, Mike Richards. The Multi-Gun Message, thank you for the live stream, Bird. I appreciate it. Randomness is great stream. Thank you, and Kapla. Thank you, guys. I obviously appreciate you guys far more than you can ever know. Kapla all, Bird out.